They don't fear your anger. They don't fear your silence. What terrifies a narcissist is your indifference. The moment you stop explaining, defending, reacting, the moment you no longer need their apology is the moment you win. Not because they surrendered, but because you stopped waiting to be released. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This isn't a story of escape. It's a story of becoming untouchable. In the end, winning against a narcissist is not a loud public victory. It is a quiet, sacred silence. It is not when they say, "I'm sorry," but when you no longer need them to. It is the moment your peace becomes louder than their chaos. The moment the war inside you is over. For a long time, you stayed, not because you were weak, but because you were trying to understand someone who thrived on confusion. But now, you're no longer chasing clarity from someone addicted to control. You've reclaimed your inner space. You've become untouchable. Here are the 5 signs that you have truly won, not with noise, but with stillness. Lesson 1. The power of non-reaction. There is a subtle but seismic shift. When the narcissist's provocations fall flat, no reaction, no explanation, no performance, just silence. This silence isn't emptiness, it is power, it is sovereignty. It is the moment they realize you're no longer a puppet tied to their strings. You've stopped reacting, not because you've stopped feeling, but because you've stopped being controlled. You've developed emotional independence. You regulate your own peace. You no longer chase validation in chaos. You walk away without slamming the door. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The power of non-reaction is the quietest revolution, and the loudest alarm to those who once fed on your emotions.
Lesson 2. The narcissist's panic. When you go silent, they don't just notice, they panic. Your indifference is their worst fear. They depended on your rage, your heartbreak, your confusion. Now, there's nothing, and that terrifies them. They escalate, they play the victim. They may even try to charm you back with nostalgia. But it's not about missing you. It's about missing their reflection in your reactions. They'll say, "You've changed." But what they mean is, you've stopped being available for their dysfunction. Their confusion isn't about your behavior. It's about your strength. You no longer orbit their instability. You are no longer flammable. You've become still. Lesson 3. The myth of closure. For so long, you waited for them to acknowledge the harm, to say what you needed to hear. But the narcissist does not give closure, because that would require ownership, and ownership shatters their illusion. The truth is, closure was never a conversation. It was a decision. You stopped needing their confession to believe your truth. You stopped needing a period to end a chapter they were never honest enough to finish. Their silence was the answer, and in your acceptance, you found your exit. Lesson 4. The peace and the glow-up. At first, the silence after their chaos feels strange, almost empty. But then, it becomes holy, sacred, restful. Your nervous system breathes again. Your mind stops spinning. Your body no longer braces for the next emotional ambush. And then it happens. You glow. Not in a way they can see, but in a way they can no longer dim. You thrive. Your soul expands. You are no longer surviving. You are living. And even if they watch from afar, they cannot touch it, because your peace is no longer performative. It is rooted.
Lesson 5. Emotional inaccessibility. The final victory. They may come back. They always do. Not because they love you, but because they loved what you gave. Your empathy, your attention, your open heart. But you've changed the locks, not just to your home, but to your emotional world. You didn't just block them. You outgrew the part of you that hoped they'd return. You didn't win because they finally apologized. You won because you no longer cared if they ever would. That is the final blow, the one they never saw coming. You are no longer a source of fuel. You are no longer an echo of their control. You are free because you stopped waiting to be. Final reflection. To win against a narcissist is to reclaim your soul from someone who made your pain a playground. It is to become emotionally sovereign, unshakable, clear. You are not bitter. You are healed. You are not silent in defeat. You are silent in power. And that silence speaks louder than anything they could ever say.